Hey, you're watching Beach Channel Live. I'm Jason Kesser, and we're talking about arts and culture in Miami. And I get to sit here with the Eddy Gatoe
Yee.
in the building. I've been wanting to talk to this gentleman for a while, and I gotta say right off the bat that we're both old and we know a lot about Miami's music scene for the
Yeah.
last 30 years. So we're gonna have to dig in a little bit deep on history a bit.
Shush.
So he's 26.
Yeah.
I'm 32.
Going on 50. No, I'm just
And
kidding.
Eddy, man, how'd you get the name Gato? Which, for all the gringos in the audience, means cat.
Oh, man. Well, like when I was maybe in junior high, my friends started hanging around the house and noticed that my mom was calling me Gato because I have light eyes. And it just kind of stuck after that.
Mira.
Yeah, it wasn't even something that she calls me often. They just happened to be there when the few times she did it. And then there you go.
Dude, your mom.
She christened me, not even on purpose.
See,
Yeah.
moms can do things like twice,
Oh, absolutely.
and then you live with them as a legacy for the rest of your life.
They're
Thanks,
legendary
Mom.
like that, man.
Yeah, dude. While she's just walking by, like mopping,
She's like,
she's not even
gatito,
thinking about
gatito,
it.
like, there you go.
Hey,
And the rest of
gatito.
your life is El Gato. Yeah.
Just to clarify, it is spelled Gatoe.
Yeah, well, you know, when we're in high school and junior high, we would do graffiti a lot. And you know, you'd like misspell a word, like psycho would be Sikeo. That's actually my junior high tag. And then when I went to write, I would put gato as in phonetically speaking, your toe. So it's not, you know, it's just
It's
something I made
gato.
up. Yeah, gato.
Nice, dude.
You
It's
got to be
clever.
kidding me.
And I don't think you can be arrested anymore at this point
Oh
for like
yeah,
90s
I think
tax.
I think we're
Specifically.
we're way past that, right?
Yeah, dude,
The
any toes
statute
after-
of limitations, yeah.
It's
yeah.
for 90s tagging, dude.
Yeah, I
if
think
it's
we're
on
good.
the Metro Rail
Jesus Christ.
from the 90s.
I still have a citation from smoking cigarettes when I was 17 years old. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
We do background checks, like, you know, like to get an
It's there.
apartment. They're like, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Can you go to court for that already,
I don't
bro?
know, man. What a
Just
pain in
show
the-
up. It'll be
I'm not
over.
allowed to curse in here, right?
I don't know, man. I think is this stuff bleepable? They say you're unbelievable.
No, good.
Eddy, you've been playing music for a long time.
Mhm.
I've seen you play acoustic.
Mhm.
I've seen you with a couple of guitars. You're definitely electrified.
Mhm.
I've seen you with a Strat, a
Mhm.
yellow Strat with
Yeah.
hums.
Yep, that's my baby.
For the layman's, that's with humbuckers, which is not normal for a Strat. That's
Yeah.
a really interesting guitar.
Well, from the punk rock, I always liked that because it gave it a chunkier sound on the bridge, so I can maybe mute or just be, you know, a little thrashier with it,
Yeah, man.
and then use the regular Strat for like the neck, the clean tone, more like your "Don't Let Me Down" kind of vibe. So that's kind of what I do.
Don't let me down, kind
yeah,
of.
yeah. You know what? For the clean tone, I kind of switch it up, and then for the distorted, I just flip it down.
It's very cool, man. And I've heard you play some really interesting covers, and also you've got a lot of original music. What would you say in the last bit? So you play solo, and you also play with a lot of different ensembles and groups.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I
the
also host like
collectives.
jams throughout the time. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like the collectives.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to hear about all that. Excuse me. But can you tell me the differences between just like playing an acoustic guitar versus being like electrified and lit up?
Oh well, that's kind of easy. The when you got the band and the noise, especially if it's a tight band, you almost have something to not hide behind, but kind of like it's like an army. You feel me? So like it's like a battering ram kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Whereas when you are solo acoustic, it's all eyes on you. You know, and it's up to you to make it worthwhile and interesting. When you're depending on two other tight, especially tight musicians, it's a lot easier. And then the energy is just, you know, a lot easier to just pick it up. When the acoustic, it's not so easy. But I guess since I learned playing punk rock on like a nylon, I really like to make these acoustic songs that would be more like maybe ballady and chunk them up a little bit. You know what I mean? So
Your
I really
acoustic
like
playing
that.
is very chunked up, dude.
I like that.
In fact, I think that maybe when you're playing acoustic, you think it's suave, and it is coming out like really hard
Yeah.
and really powerful. I loved hearing you on
I
acoustic.
appreciate that. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
man. You have a new single coming out that's gonna drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Tell me about that.
So the one that just dropped, well, I'll talk about that in a second, but the one that's coming up is called Ain't Wasting Time or Suffering Fools. It's kind of like think Folsom Prison Blues. Just a little bit more indie punk folk rock thing, and it's just basically saying I'm not wasting time, or we shouldn't. Usually when I write a song, it's not me. It's something I'm very careful to make it relatable to anybody who reads it with a general idea, and they could take it from there. So it basically keeps repeating that I'm not going to be wasting time or suffering fools, which is like an old saying, right? Like, this person doesn't suffer fools lightly, as in they don't take people who are negative or who are fools in a light way. They don't have patience for that. They don't have time for that. So
Yeah, man.
that's kind of the whole theme.
It's Johnny Cash out of patience.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think people will relate to that. Everyone's got, a moment. And I think songs are important to have a moment.
I think I liked what you were saying, that if we're in like the Johnny Cash zone, or like, that's almost if you put like punk on country or something. Like
I mean,
that's,
it's the same. Is
yeah, like a driving rhythm.
same thing, man.
It's
Same
like
thing.
punk on the train tracks.
Right. So,
I think that music does really well when you have a saying that everybody knows, but it's kind of a simple, repeated concept. Like, you're keeping it like vague,
right.
but really making your point. I think country does that old school really well. Do
100%.
you feel like that's part of the strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I literally lifted the whole, like, the structure of the song is 4 verses that just at the end of every verse says, I ain't wasting time or suffering fools. And it's the whole idea of the blues is where you call and response, but the turnaround and the resolve is always the point of the song.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's, yeah,
And the
absolutely.
simpler it is, the more powerful it can be.
Absolutely,
I
man.
encourage everybody to listen to any of Eddy's stuff that he's dropped so far. There's another song too, which is Tight Work.
Tight Work, yeah.
So are you dropping that?
That
soon too?
that one's been dropped a little while ago. I got a little promo video for it. It was recorded at Phase One Studios with Brian Lang as a producer, and some of the boys from the Lab. Actually, the Lab, which is my favorite band in Miami. If you ever get a chance to hear it, I'm gonna name drop a bunch of good bands.
Please do.
But these guys are phenomenal. So Harold plays on it, Brian plays on it, and Brian plays on it as well, which was a blessing to have them play on my first official single. It's a song about Miami, because when I came from the burbs and started living downtown about 20 years ago, I started hearing the word a lot more than I did back in Westchester. Tight work, tight work, tight work. It's kind of like something fresh, something cool. That car's tight work. That bar's tight work. And it just is one of these songs
That
that for
lady's
10
tight
years
work.
just always would come back. Well, that's the thing. It's a metaphor for the woman that I'm talking to, and it could be to whoever you're talking to. It's a metaphor for a toxic relationship with your city, basically. And this is before the word toxic was like as prevalent in my mind anyways, but it's
Sure.
basically,
It's getting a little overused.
I always would sing
The word
it
toxic's
thinking
a little
about the
toxic.
city, and how like the nightlife and, the fun of the wild side and all that, and a little bit of the thug life and all that. And it's actually also has a nod to hip hop, because the first line is, all right, the freaks come out at night, which is an old Houdini song, like one of the first rap songs ever. So I had to release this as my first one because it encapsulates me as a
and
whole.
all your influences.
The artwork is done by one of the best graffiti artists that I've known and I went to high school with. So every little,
that?
it's very meticulous.
Can you-
Verse.
Nice.
Yeah, he Dade County Choppers. So he did all the artwork, and it's very graph-like. So it's like, it encompassed me, and I'm very proud of it. Very, very proud of it. So please check it out.
We're gonna link everybody that Eddy Gatoe mentions. You're gonna probably like sprain a finger scrolling, but we're gonna link everybody because this man knows everybody. Dude, one thing I want to say about Tight Work, like for me, just listening to it, like the first thing that came to mind. Let's see, dude, because like I said first like Violent Femmes and like Nick Cave
For
came
sure.
because like the Nick Cave thing
The
was
Bad
just like,
Seeds, wow.
yeah, it was like a little bit of it was dark in a really great way.
Yeah.
But
man.
it was Violent Femsy because it didn't really care, and it was, I don't know, it was the way you were comping chords. It's dope, but it also had like a Stray Cats feeling with a little
you
Iggy
called it
Pop,
right
bro.
there.
No,
Definitely,
but there's some Iggy Pop on it.
definitely, it's a mix of the Passenger and the Stray Cat Strut, and I was very influenced. One of my first memories before I knew what was cool or not was my brother was 10 years older than me, so a lot I listened to was the Blister in the Sun album, the Added Up album, Violent Femmes. So I knew that as a kid. I'm talking about 8, 9 years old, and that just stays in you, even if you don't listen to it all the time. So Yeah, that's another reason why I think I rock the acoustic a lot too.
Oh,
And
for
I cover
sure.
Blister in the Sun and add it up, and so you're right on the money, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's it.
The
If
gig is up, guys.
the kick's up. Look, man, if I think the only reason I've ever come up with anything original was because I was trying to do a bad impression of something good. Now, that's not
100%.
what you're doing.
No.
But if you end up accidentally sliding into your influences, that can be a really good thing.
Oh, absolutely. No,
Yeah.
and sometimes you write the song and then you go back and you're like, oh, that's kind of reminds me of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you easily, like, look, there's nothing new under the sun. The only thing that matters is integrity. Like, if you listen to Karma Police, it has that little, this is what you'll get. That piano part is literally Sexy Sadie from the Beatles
Yeah,
in
it
the
is.
White Album. Dun, 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 Sexy Sadie. No one said anything. Everyone loved it, and they didn't do it on purpose.
No,
but
they didn't.
They left it there, right? Because they're British, and they knew that was in there, right?
There's the Da Vinci Code like solution to Radiohead is figuring out that it's mostly like Paul McCartney like changes.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Or Lennon, I'm not sure.
That's a John Lennon song.
Sexy Sadie? Yeah, for sure, man. Damn, I hate giving McCartney credit when it's supposed to be Lennon's. It's the worst. He did like
I
so
love
much.
them so much.
I know. It's really good.
I love talking smack about Paul, and someone be like, "You don't like Paul?" I'm like, "Dude, I love Paul.
I love Paul.
I'm just gonna talk smack about it because I love John. You know
He's
what I mean?
so good. We
They're
can be
all
angry
great.
at him.
They're all great, man.
I know.
I'm definitely a fan.
You can't win, man. Like
I'm not one of those, overrated. I'm not the guy to talk about that. The Beatles are the Beatles. Forget about it.
No, at all, man. Did you watch the Let It Be documentary?
I've watched. You mean the one on Disney?
Yeah.
I watched bits and pieces of it. I know a lot of it's new footage, and I have to watch it. I also want to watch the new Beach Boys one because there's a good while I was obsessed with the Beach Boys as well, and they're kind of like bumping heads. But
Yeah,
no, but I
gotta
used
check
to have
both
the
out.
anthology, like remember in the '90s that they came out with that big anthology.
Sure.
So I have the book, big book, and I had the DVD set. So
That's
I'm a
in the
fanatic.
90s. That's how we would spend $70, which
Right.
we would never spend on anything else. But they would just come out with like a new box at specs that we had to get. Speaking of documentaries, you I think were featured in a documentary on Churchill's.
As I haven't seen it, but as far as I was told, that yes, I did go for the filming, and I got interviewed, and I was asked some questions. It was really fun because Churchill's was closed for how many years,
Yeah.
and I had to go inside, and it was like a stamp of time, you know what I mean, like psh, like a
Absolutely.
snapshot. Everything was exactly the same.
Yeah, just the bathrooms. Even.
Yeah, it was all exactly the same, and they had all this camera crew like this and whatnot. And
There's
it was
probably
really
a Gatoe
cool.
tag in there.
There's definitely a dyslexic postcard tag everywhere.
For a lot of people that don't know, some of the more hardcore venues in Miami, Churchill's goes in there. Also, where you got your start, which was Cheers, which was right on 17th Ave,
right there, man.
up the street from here. These were really, really rowdy places.
La Rosas.
I was wondering if you could compare those to some of the venues that you're playing at now, because I want to shout out some
That's
of
a
the places
good
people
question.
can see you.
That's a good thing.
Some of the venues you're playing at are like Bar Nancy, Magic 13.
Magic 13.
Tell me about Magic
Savage
13
Labs.
real quick.
So Magic 13 is a brewery in Little Haiti, not too far from where Churchill's was.
Like 62nd.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got a beautiful outside stage area. Their beers are great. Their food is awesome. They have good Argentinian fare at all times. It's actually family friendly. And they have different events almost every day, music wise.
Sure.
If it's not a jam, it's some good artists. A lot of good cover bands, but also a lot of good original bands.
How do you feel playing on that stage when it's like there's at least seating for like 100 people?
Yeah.
It's outside. Train
I
tracks are
love it.
close by.
I love it, man.
But what does that inspire you as a musician to like play in that scenario?
To play on in a big stage is always, like an exaggerated feel, you know what I mean? Like you're a superhero or something like that. But that place in particular, I love the vibe. I love the owners. I love the fact that it's different from the other places that I perform at. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. That place is really, really cool. And they also have like Brazilian drums sometimes, the Miami Bloco, which you guys should look that up if you ever can. A lot of good Argentinian bands, a lot of Latin bands. They had a ska night the other night. Just so many different events. They have Sancocho Sundays, and I'm half Colombian, so I'm about that life. So yeah, I mean, it's really cool.
Very cool.
And they let me just go up there and with acoustic guitar and just play it for 3 hours and do whatever I want, and it's
No
great.
kidding. So if you go to an Eddy Gatoe gig, you might be able to just see like a really long acoustic set.
Yeah, I'll
That's a
take
mashup.
like a couple breaks, but I'll do 3 sets, about 45-minute sets. And sometimes what I've made, at least for myself, and it's very organic. None of this is planned out. Is I've managed to, if I have a couple good friends coming along and they're jamming and they're chilling, they might have an amp, I might have an extra guitar, and maybe 3 out of the 10 times I'll have somebody come up and actually sing with me, perform with me for almost all the set, which really gives it an organic feel. It keeps me on my toes because I have this whole 3 set list, and then all of a sudden these people come and don't know my songs, so we have to start being like, okay, so what do you know? I don't know. And so it's fun. Keeps you on your toes.
It's good, and it's good to remember as an artist, like if you're gonna be unprepared, you got to be good. Like be good at what you do and rock out.
It's not as easy. Some people think, hey, yeah, well, let's just do it. Yeah, I know that song. And then it's like, yo, what key are you in? And it's no knock to anybody, but it's just like, it's not as easy as it seems.
Do you feel like Miami stages are really good at just letting all the musicians in Miami know each other and are kind of like, what's that? What's that?
Tobacco
shout out to?
Road.
Nice. I was actually going to ask you about that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, we kind of like mix and mash our bands. People sit in and stuff like that. Do you feel like that's unique to Miami? I don't know if you've played in other places in the country, but I think our musicians work really well that way, and also the stages are starting to embrace that too.
Yeah, I also don't know. I don't know how big our scene is, where it's inevitable that it's constricted, that it'll overlap, and that's kind of what I've wanted to do. Again, a lot of this started happening organically. About a year ago, I started working with Savage Labs and meeting more and more new musicians, and then just calling in favors from old people I knew and be like, look, I'm into this, I'm doing this. And it's like I'm trying to, I don't know, be somewhat of a bridge for people. Like people that I just like personally, I'll promote their stuff all the time. I don't ask for anything. I just repost. And hopefully by leading by example, like I started a little IG chat that now has like 70 musicians, and they're just constantly posting their stuff from Miami, from Fort Lauderdale, what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm proud of that, and I hope it gets somewhere, because we were a little divided, and it's not a complete unification, and it doesn't have to be either. But a little bit more camaraderie, I think, was deserved. And I think it's healthier for the spirit and for the growth of the art.
That's really good. Miami musicians make Miami music happen.
We are the keepers of our culture.
Yeah, that's really good. Speaking of keeping culture, a couple of venues that are historically amazing, Tobacco Road being one of them. I saw that it's cool you brought the hat, but I saw that you were playing the stage. I thought I played Tobacco Road the last month there was a stage.
Right.
That was back in 2014. So what's going on with that as a location, in case people want to go check it out?
So it's 2 things. The Kush company, Kush Hospitality, which is amazing. They have Locale, they have Kush, they have the Spillover, Kush Hialeah.
The best
all
$18
these great
burger you'll have in the city.
Amazing. And they've been like that for years. They ended up buying the plot that's the River Oyster Bar. So Tobacco Road is still no longer there. It's a ghost town. But they took some of the decor, and it's kind of like a tribute to Tobacco Road.
So Tobacco Road, which was the oldest bar in Miami.
100%. Number one, first liquor license.
The first liquor license
before Prohibition and after.
That's so crazy.
It's insane.
An amazing place. Like every like fleck of wood that would come up off the floor like had more history than any of us.
100%. Some of the best blues players in the world have played there.
It is sitting there empty. So if anybody goes up there and you knock on the door, like you're not going to get in. Like you said, it's like a ghost edifice of what it was. But
Absolutely.
Right next door, which is the Oyster Bar, that's where your stage
That's
is.
where. So it's called Kush Brickle, or Tobacco Road, presented by Kush Brickle. Like you could find it different ways, but it's basically set up like Tobacco Road. And it's Kush. It's the Kush company. Boom.
Nice.
Really, really cool. So
Yeah, I want to see you there.
the
Before,
thing is, Scotchy over there, Uncle Scotchy from Juke, amazing, amazing guy. He does shows throughout all Miami where he books different bands, and he's hooked me up and whatnot. So he performs there every Sunday with Harold Trucco from the Lab. So I want to plug that in for you guys to check that out. You want to see awesome one-man band and killer guitar playing every Sunday to Back Road, and also Lone Wolf. You know Lone Wolf. Bruno plays there on Thursdays, I believe. So
sure.
check that out.
And Uncle Scotchy is also putting events up at many different stages.
Man, that
And
guy don't
he's
stop. Hardest working man in show
yeah,
business, like James Brown.
I think he is right now. Another great venue that that he works out and brings a lot of people to, and a lot of our musicians are congregating to, is the stage at Bar Nancy, which for a lot of people that might not know is in the heart of Calle Ocho. But it's much more a stage for any kind of music. How do you feel about what's
Okay,
happening
so
there?
every place that we're talking about has its own different things and idiosyncrasies and whatnot. So Bar Nancy, I would say, is my heart. You know, I love the owners as well. Like I do the other places, but like these are good longtime friends, the promoters, the staff, and the stage is definitely like do whatever you want. And these are the guys that have believed in me through my tough and good times, and got to the point that if we have an idea, they'll be like, let's do it, and they'll trust me. And to me, it feels like the most rock and roll bar, the closest thing, or not the closest thing, the Churchills, the Rosas, the Cheers, the CBGBs. You know what I mean? And I think the potential for it is even more than where it's been, and it's already a Miami staple. I love that place, absolutely. I host jams there every couple of Mondays.
I want to be on the pulse of everything that you're doing. If I followed you around every stage that you play at, I probably understand Miami pretty well, Eddy Gatoe.
Yeah, man.
Also, I definitely want to encourage you to please, like, play the acoustic hard, Violent Femme style. Make
Yeah.
your knuckles bleed, and please be our Miami Iggy Pop, dude. Can you try to aim for that?
And Miami already has an Iggy Pop, and it's Iggy Pop
Miami
himself.
does.
So,
Miami has its own
shout out
Iggy
to
Pop.
the Newes. They play with Iggy Pop, and they came out with a new record, so they're great. Couple good bands, obviously.
Can you be our half Colombian Iggy Pop?
Brother, I'm half Colombian, half Cuban, so
You
ya tu
got us locked
sabes,
down there.
parce.
Awesome. It's been great talking to Eddy Gatoe. Guys, this has been Beach Channel Live. We're talking about arts and culture in Miami. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon. Rock on.